A very large group of people love true crime content, especially Gen Z, but those people don't know just how close they were to living through some crazy true crime happenings themselves. Welcome to Toporo. Toporo is where we count down the best and leave out the rest. Today, let's take a look at 10 of the most infamous crimes that occurred in the 1990s. Number 10. The homicide of JonBenet Ramsey. JonBenet Ramsey was a child beauty queen murdered just a few months after her 6th birthday in the year of 1996. Ramsey was reported missing shortly after a lengthy ransom note was discovered in her home. 7 hours later, Ramsey was found strangled in the family home's basement. Her skull was broken as the autopsy reported she had received a blow to the head. However, the official cause of death was asphyxia by strangulation, associated with craniocerebral trauma. Though Ramsey's parents were at first considered suspects in her murder, it was resolved that there wasn't enough proof to indict them. To this day, the murder of this poor child star is a cold case. Number 9. The homicides of Tupac and Biggie Smalls. On September 7th of 1996 at 11:15 p.m., 25-year-old Tupac Shakur was murdered in a drive-by shooting at a stoplight East Flamingo Road and Covell Lane, Las Vegas, Nevada. He was hit by 4 .40-caliber rounds from a Glock. Though he was shot once in the thigh, once in the arm, and twice in the chest, he didn't succumb to his injuries until 6 days later. Less than a year later, 24-year-old Christopher Wallace, aka the notorious B.I.G., was also killed in a drive-by shooting. It occurred at 12:47 a.m. on March 9, 1997, on the corner of Wilshire Boulevard and South Fairfax Avenue in Los Angeles, California. He was struck 4 times. 1 bullet entered his left forearm but exited through his wrist, 1 struck him in the back and left shoulder, another went in his left thigh, and the last bullet punctured his left lung, heart, colon, and liver. He was pronounced deceased by 1:15 a.m. Number 8. The homicidal rampage of Jeffrey Dahmer. Jeffrey Lionel Dahmer was a rapist and serial killer known for violating, dismembering, and murdering young gay men in Milwaukee, Wisconsin from 1978 to 1991. He was commonly referred to as the Milwaukee Cannibal because he frequently engaged in cannibalism and necrophilia with the corpses of his victims. Dahmer was diagnosed with schizotypal personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, and a psychotic disorder. He committed 16 murders in Wisconsin, and he was convicted of 15 of them, resulting in his sentencing of 15 consecutive life sentences. Later on, he would receive the 16th life sentence. In November of 1994, Christopher Scarver beat Dahmer to death in Columbia Correctional Institution in Portage, Wisconsin. Number 7. The homicide of Selena Quintanilla Perez. Selena Quintanilla Perez was an extremely popular American Tejano singer of the 80s and 90s who got shot and killed March 31, 1995 at the youthful age of 23 years old. Yolanda Saldivar, Selena's registered agent for her San Antonio and Corpus Christi boutiques, shot Selena once in the right shoulder, which caused a traumatic amount of blood loss by severing her subclavian artery. Selena was able to hobble away to the lobby, where she named her attacker. Motel staff called emergency services, but unfortunately Selena Quintanilla Perez was deemed clinically brain dead within 12 minutes of being shot. Despite the best efforts of Corpus Christi Memorial Hospital, after over 50 minutes of surgery, Selena died from cardiac arrest and blood loss. Number 6. The trial of O.J. Simpson. Orenthal James Simpson was once famous for being an actor, broadcaster, and running back of the San Francisco 49ers and the Buffalo Bills. Now he's undoubtedly most well known for being tried for the murders of his wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, as well as a comrade of hers, Ron Goldman. Nicole and Ron were discovered deceased on June 12, 1994, outside the Simpson condo in Brentwood, Los Angeles. On October 3, 1995, 100 million people listened to or watched the broadcasting of O.J.'s verdict for both murders. Not guilty was the first verdict. Later on, though, on February 5, 1997, Simpson was found responsible for the battery against and wrongful death of Ron Goldman, as well as battery against Nicole Brown. Enjoying the video so far? We thank you for watching and ask you to leave a like and subscribe so we can keep bringing you great videos like this one. Alright, now back to the list. Number 5. The Bloodbath of Columbine High School. Senior high school students Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris initiated an attempted bombing and deadly school shooting on April 20th, 1999 in Columbine, Colorado. 12 students and 1 teacher were slain during the deadliest school shooting at that point in time, one that inspired many others globally. In early 1997, Klebold began lashing out online and learning to make explosives. He had run-ins with the law before the fatal shooting, including having had an affidavit drafted of a search warrant of his home. It never got submitted to a judge, despite the concerns of his classmates' parents. Not too long after, the blood of 10 dead students and 21 more injured ones was on Klebold and Harris. They killed themselves in the school library. Number 4. The Oklahoma City bombing. On April 29, 1995, the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building was the victim of a domestic terrorist truck bombing. Terry Nichols and Timothy McVeigh destroyed 325 buildings, injured 680 people, and murdered 167 more. In U.S. history, this is to date the most deadly act of domestic terrorism witnessed. Within days, Nichols and McVeigh were charged, but it wasn't until June of 2001 that McVeigh would be sentenced to lethal injection, and it wouldn't be until 2004 that Nichols was sentenced to life in prison. Number 3. The murder of Gianni Versace. An acclaimed businessman, designer, and socialite, Giovanni Maria Gianni Versace created a luxury fashion brand Versace. A lover of ancient Greek history and a student of the Latin and Greek languages, Versace had a certain class and panache to him. His mother owned a sewing business, which hired him as an apprentice before he moved to Milan when he was 26. From there, he continued working in fashion design while working on multiple lines of clothing for Genny, an Italian ready-to-wear manufacturer. By 1978, shortly after his fashion show debut, he opened his first boutique in Via della Spiga, a prominent shopping street of Milan's. On July 15, 1997, Versace was murdered on Ocean Drive as he walked to get his magazines. He was shot point-blank by a .40 caliber Taurus PT-100 and declared dead by 9/21 that morning. Number 2. The I-95 slayings of Gary Ray Bowles. In March of 1994, Gary Ray Bowles strangled and beat John Hardy Roberts in Daytona Beach, Florida. Roberts did nothing more than offer Bowles somewhere to stay for the night. After beating and strangling him, he robbed the cards off his body and moved on to Kingsland, Georgia, and then Nashville, Tennessee. Bowles went on a rampage, slaughtering 39-year-old David Jarman in Wheaton, Maryland, 72-year-old Milton Bradley in Savannah, Georgia, 47-year-old Alverson Carter Jr. in Atlanta, Georgia, as well as 38-year-old Albert Morris in Hilliard, Florida. Bowles seduced these men in order to gain their trust and vulnerability. He then beat and strangled them to death and then stole their credit cards. Bowles eventually got caught and received the death penalty. He was executed on August 22, 2019 via lethal injection. Number 1. The disappearance of Amy Lynn Bradley. On March 23, 1998, Longwood University graduate Amy Lynn Bradley went dancing on a cruise ship with her brother. Her brother, Brad, returned to the cabin at 3:35 a.m., and Amy 5 minutes after him. Their father, Ron, awoke at 6 a.m., only to find Amy MIA. The Netherlands Antilles Coast Guard searched for Amy for 4 days. To this day, no one knows where Amy is or what happened to her. Some people have claimed to have seen her since then, but there have been no confirmed sightings or stories of Miss Bradley. That brings us to the end of today's video. What stories shocked you the most? Are there any true crime stories from the 1990s that we may have missed? Let us know in the comments below, and while you're down there, leave a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, this is Toporo, and we're out.